All right, so let's jump into some Pennsylvania politics.
Okay.
You sent over a couple articles about the race for PA GOP chair,
Mm-hmm.
and things are getting a little spicy.
Yeah, it's definitely heated up.
So the bottom line is,
Yeah.
it looks like Greg Rothman is going to be the next chair
Seems that way.
after his opponent dropped out and endorsed him.
Right, right.
But then a county commissioner,
Uh-huh.
Gary Eichelberger,
Yep.
sent this email
Hmm?
accusing Rothman of dirty tricks,
Oh, wow.
alleging that he
Oh.
used dark money to support a candidate
Okay.
just to undermine Eichelberger's work.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's wild.
So what happened?
Yeah.
Like, how did this all...
To understand how we got here,
Yeah.
we got to lay out the timeline.
Okay.
It all started with two contenders
Mm-hmm.
vying for PA GOP chair,
Right.
Ted Christian,
Uh-huh.
and Greg Rothman.
Yep.
Rothman started securing pledges
Okay.
from state committees,
Mm-hmm.
and he received a key endorsement from U.S. Senator-elect Dave McCormick.
Right.
Then, out of nowhere,
Uh-huh.
Christian withdraws from the race
Wow.
and endorses Rothman.
Really?
You'd think that would be the end of it.
Yeah, you would.
But that's when things took a turn
Oh, okay.
with Eichelberger's email.
This email.
Yeah, this email was sent to Senator-elect McCormick,
Gotcha.
and it just throws a wrench into everything.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this email.
Okay.
Because it's pretty explosive.
Right.
Eichelberger does not mince words.
Okay.
He directly accuses Rothman of being the dirty tricks guy.
Uh-huh.
He even alleges that Rothman funneled $90,000
Wow.
to fund a commissioner candidate in Cumberland County,
Okay.
Kelly Niderer,
Mm-hmm.
who Eichelberger claims is a R&O,
Uh-oh.
put in place to sabotage his work.
So using money to influence local politics?
Yeah, because the accusation of using dark money
Right.
is serious stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And to make matters worse,
Mhm.
Eichelberger compares Rothman's alleged tactics to those of a former Dauphin County commissioner,
Mm.
Jeff Haste,
I know that name.
who's currently entangled in a scandal.
Right, yeah. He's been in the news.
Eichelberger's trying to paint a picture here
Yeah.
of a pattern of behavior
Okay, interesting.
with Rothman.
Mm-hmm.
And to drive his point home,
Uh-huh.
he brings up a past incident
Okay.
from 1991
Way back.
where Rothman faced criminal charges
For what?
for a fraudulent smear letter
Against
a county commissioner candidate.
Oh, wow.
He was later pardoned,
Okay.
but Eichelberger uses this incident to argue
Mm-hmm.
that this shows Rothman's true character.
So is this just a desperate attempt to derail Rothman's candidacy?
Right. Is this just sour grapes
Yeah.
from Eichelberger, or is there something more to these accusations?
Yeah. What do we think?
Well, Eichelberger goes on to express his frustration
Okay.
with Niderer.
With the commissioner.
Yeah, the commissioner candidate that Rothman allegedly supported. He accuses her of undoing years of his work,
How's his work on what?
maintaining fiscal responsibility in Cumberland County,
Oh, okay.
leading to higher property taxes.
Really?
And then he even suggests
What's that?
there's this girl power alliance
Right.
between Niderer,
Okay.
a Republican,
Right.
and the Democrat commissioner, Gene Fauci,
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
which adds another layer of complexity
Yeah.
to this whole situation.
Yeah. So is this a case of sour grapes, or is he actually concerned about Rothman's tactics?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's important to approach these accusations carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Consider all angles.
Right. We can't just dismiss Eichelberger as a sore loser.
Exactly.
So where do we even start with this?
I think a good place to start
Yeah.
would be this whole thing with Rothman
Okay.
and dark money.
Right. This accusation that he used dark money
Yeah.
to support Nider.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So what does that even mean?
Dark money refers to funds that are...
Like you said, it's an accusation.
Right. It's an accusation, but it's also a real thing.
Mhm.
It's money that's spent
Okay.
in a way that makes it hard to figure out where it came from.
Oh, okay.
So the original source of the money is hidden.
So it's basically a way to
Yeah.
funnel money into campaigns without saying who's behind it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That sounds pretty sneaky.
It can be. Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to hide where your money's coming from,
Right.
what are you trying to gain?
Exactly. Yeah. Are you operating in good faith?
Right.
Are you trying to
Do you have something to hide?
Yeah,
Are
exactly.
you trying to influence an election without anyone knowing?
Right. It brings up all those questions about transparency and accountability.
Okay, so how do we dig deeper into this?
Well, we need to look at Niderer's campaign finance reports.
Okay.
and see if there are any like suspicious contributions.
So we're talking about like financial records that might link Rothman to these contributions.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But is that information even public?
Campaign finance records are generally public,
Okay.
so we could access those filings
Okay.
and see where her money came from.
Okay, and would we be able to see, like...
Now, it might be tricky to directly link Rothman,
Okay.
especially if he was trying to hide his involvement,
Okay.
but we might see donations from organizations that have ties to him.
Okay, so it sounds like it would be difficult to, like,
It can be, yeah.
really prove anything.
These investigations into dark money can be very complex and time-consuming.
Okay, so let's say we do find some questionable donations.
Okay.
What does that even tell us about Rothman?
Well, it doesn't automatically mean that he was trying to sabotage Eichelberger.
Okay.
Maybe he genuinely believed in Neiderer and wanted to
Right.
support her.
Oh.
But if we see like a pattern of these donations that raise red flags, then it becomes harder to ignore the possibility that something's up.
Okay, so it's like, is there a pattern of behavior here?
Right, and that's kind of what Eichelberger is trying to argue.
Right. He brings up that incident from Rothman's past.
Yes.
The fraudulent smear letter.
From 1991?
1991. That's like over 30 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
People can change, right?
Of course people can change.
Yeah.
But it's also fair to ask, you know, does this incident tell us something about Rothman?
Okay.
You know, like a willingness to break the rules to get what he wants.
But even if this past incident is relevant, does it prove that he was trying to undermine Eichelberger specifically?
That's a good question, and I think
Yeah.
Eichelberger doesn't really offer concrete evidence to connect those two things.
Okay, so we need to like take all of this with a grain of salt.
I think that's a good approach, yeah.
He clearly has an axe to grind, but that doesn't mean that he's making stuff up.
Right.
So we need to like look for more evidence.
Correctly.
Okay, so we've talked about dark money. We've talked about this incident from the past. What else should we be thinking about?
I think we need to look more closely at what's happening in Cumberland County,
Okay.
like with Eichelberger and Neiderer.
Right, because he makes some pretty harsh accusations
He does, yeah.
about her policies.
Right, about the property taxes.
Yeah.
So we need to like look at the numbers
Okay.
and see if her policies actually led to higher property taxes.
Right.
Like he says.
And what about that girl power alliance?
Yeah, that was an interesting comment.
What do you think he's getting at with that?
Well, on surface, it could seem like he's being sexist,
Right.
but it also could reflect like
Okay.
a deeper concern about the changing politics in the county.
So, like, is Cumberland County becoming less reliably Republican?
Potentially. Yeah.
Okay, so this alliance between Niederer and Fauci
Right.
could be a sign of that.
It could be. Yeah.
And if that's the case,
Right.
then Eichelberger might feel threatened by that.
As a longtime Republican incumbent.
Yeah.
He might. Yeah.
And if Rothman is backing Niederer, knowing that she might align with a Democrat,
Yeah.
does that tell us something about him?
It could. Yeah. It could suggest that he's more focused on just winning
Okay.
than on ideology.
So he's willing to compromise
Right.
to get what he wants.
Potentially. Yeah.
And that could either unite the party or divide it.
Exactly. Yeah. It depends how he plays it.
Yeah.
And this whole situation in Cumberland County, I think, could be a microcosm of what's happening in the Republican Party more broadly.
It's like this battle between the old guard and the new guard.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
This has gone from a local election squabble
Right.
to a debate about the future of the Republican Party.
Exactly. And that's what makes these deep dives so interesting.
I know, right?
We start with something small, and then we see all these connections.
So how do you think this whole saga is going to impact the future of the PA GOP?
Well, Rothman seems like he's going to be the next chair.
Yeah.
But what kind of leader will he be?
Right. Will he be a unifier?
Will he bring the party together?
Or will he divide it even more?
That's the big question.
Okay, so to answer that,
Yeah.
we need to, like, learn more about Rothman.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so what do we know about his political philosophy?
Well, he's been involved in Pennsylvania politics for a while now.
Okay.
Serving in different roles, building up those connections.
So he's kind of an establishment figure.
Yeah, you could say that.
And he's got those connections.
Right, like with Senator-elect McCormick,
Right.
that suggests he has support from some of the big players.
But does that mean he's, like, beholden to them?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's always tricky in politics, you know,
Right.
trying to maintain those relationships, but also like doing your own thing.
So based on his background and his political style,
Yeah.
what kind of leader do you think he'll be?
Well, it's hard to say for sure.
Right.
But we can look at his past actions and the alliances he's made.
Okay, so like his support for Nider.
Yeah, that suggests to me that he might be more pragmatic. That ideological.
So he's more focused on winning
Right.
than on sticking to like a strict set of beliefs.
It seems that way.
Okay, and is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it depends who you ask.
Right.
Some Republicans might see it as a sign that he's willing to compromise
Okay.
to broaden the appeal of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Others might see it as him abandoning conservative values.
So he could either bring the party together
Right.
or he could make the divisions even worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And this whole thing with the PA GOP,
Uh-huh.
it seems like they're at a crossroads.
I think that's a good way to put it.
And Rothman could really determine which way they go.
I think so.
And that could have implications beyond Pennsylvania.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Pennsylvania is a swing state.
Right, it's a key battleground state.
And what happens with the Republican Party here could have a ripple effect across the country.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Wow. This has been really insightful.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
We've gone from this local election
Yeah.
to this statewide power struggle to like a national debate about the Republican Party.
It's all connected.
I know, it's fascinating.
It is.
Well, thanks for walking me through all of this.
Oh, of course. It's been my pleasure.
This has been a really interesting deep dive into Pennsylvania politics.
Yeah. It's a complicated situation for sure.
Definitely a lot to think about.
Keep asking those questions.
I will.
That's how we make sense of things.
Until next time.
See ya.